Okay. Good evening, everybody. Tonight is the second to last class. We won't be covering any new material. This whole class time is just devoted to me taking the time to just like take some more one-on-one time with you, see where you are with your projects. Next week you'll be presenting. If there are still a few rough edges, that's okay. I am more interested in seeing that that you've put the effort in than seeing that you've made a completely professional, great product. We'll also go over after everyone presents their work next week. We'll go over excuse me. We'll go over how to purchase a domain name and how to associate a domain name with a deploy a site and associate a domain name with it. So, but first, let's what we can do here is I can assuming that the allotting time for Sarah and Maiting, who might show up late, I can allot everybody just a hair over 20 minutes. I can allot everybody about 24 minutes. I can either use we can use the breakout room feature if you'd like to do it in private, or if you're comfortable going over your work in front of the class, we can do it in front of the class. So I'll leave that up to you guys, whichever you feel more comfortable with. Sorry, did somebody?
Oh yeah, I just said I was good either way.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, whichever is easier.
Okay. All right. Yeah. People that prefer breakout room, we'll do breakout rooms for, and people that prefer people that are fine with presenting to the whole class will present to the whole class. So feel free to just sort of like take the while I'm in a breakout room with someone, feel free to just take this as extra time to just work on your project while I'm otherwise engaged. So I'll just go down looking at my attendance list in alphabetical order by last name. Miri, do you want to go first? So you're still muted, but you should have the ability to share your screen now if you'd like.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry about that. I've been talking at it. I'm on my iPad just because Zoom slows down my computer like crazy.
Okay.
But it's still the link that I sent you. I just kept using that.
Cool. Okay, I will pull that up.
So I basically did everything and I added JS by the jQuery plugin.
Okay.
And it works. However, for some reason, like everything I tried and I read through it a bunch of times, I can't get it to open in the box, in that light box.
Okay.
It just refuses to opens in a new page.
All right. Let's see what we can figure out. So let me share. Right. Okay. So yeah, it's opening the plugin, but Yeah. Okay. Let's
So I'm trying to like change the like the add certain things to the like I tried to add the link into the jQuery tab or add it to the dot media, but it literally just wouldn't go.
okay. Um oh right, it's the jQuery.media.js. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
So and the example we used, it was from one of the demos. We used the PDF demo. Right. Okay. So um let's see here. So a class equals media. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay. So okay, so you have this closed lightbox method. Yeah, obviously. Where's that because I see that you have an open lightbox method, but I don't see where the open lightbox, like you've bound you have a you've written an event handler here that you've bound to the click for something that has the ID open lightbox, but I don't see where that element is in here. Right.
So
So in order to click on a link and have it open in the lightbox, you could do this instead of binding to what we'll do is we'll bind this click handler.
okay.
Right. So right now there's not an element on the page that has this ID, right? So this event.prevent default isn't firing. And that's why it's opening in another tab instead of popping open into that lightbox.
Okay.
So all we really need to do is change the selector on this and go change it so that when we click on one of those dot media
Oh, I see. Okay.
right, because your links have the class of dot media, right? Each link has the class of dot media. So
Yeah, I
then
haven't updated it for all of them, but yeah.
they will. Okay, yeah, I see. You haven't wrapped them all in links.
Yeah.
I see. Right. Okay. And so then now we need to okay. Let's do this. So I think part of the issue here is also that you're kind of reusing this dot media class for two different things. Like your clickable links here that are supposed to open the lightbox have the media class on them, but also you're in your JavaScript, you're selecting this media element and you're also adding the class media to it and then initializing the plugin on that element. So I think you see where the conflict is there, that one of them is the link that you need to click to open the PDF and the other is the element that the PDF renders in. But you've given them both the same class. But that's a really easy fix because you're dynamically adding this class. So we're creating that link on the fly. So let's just call this, say, media container. Or actually, I mean, we're calling we're using media element as the variable name. So let's just use it as the class name too. And so now, oh, okay, so let's try it again. Fingers crossed. Okay, so we're getting the lightbox effect now, but we're not getting the PDF. So let's figure out why.
Yeah, that's pretty what the, like, I couldn't link it in. Right, so this error was coming up every time I did it. But I kind of also, I forget, I added it in as, I did something else that added it in as an element in here, and then the links would break. But I forget what I did, honestly.
Okay. You're pulling in that, yeah. So you're using the jQuery.media. Let's make sure that this, tell you what, let's make sure this file is importing pure, like this, that we're getting, because basically sort of like this, like that .media method should exist if the library is importing right, if the plugin is importing right. So one thing to check if that method doesn't work is just sort of, is the plugin there? So let's just search, let's do this. Let's do network. Let's reload the page. Okay, so it is loading. I wonder. Let's see what happens if we defer loading on it. Just. Same thing. It's a cross origin error. Okay. So, all right, this is an easy fix. It doesn't, cross origin errors are the bane of even the most senior JavaScript developer. Basically, what this means is just that there is a security permission that is not set right somewhere in the exchange of where you're downloading this jQuery.media.js file from and how it's trying to get to like your code base. So the way around that's really simple. You just download it, upload it, host it on the same server, and then we don't have a cross origin error.
Okay.
So go to the GitHub repository.
So why does that happen? Just because it
has to do with server settings, both on the glitch side and on the side of the file that we're requesting. Both, so there's like server configuration stuff that doesn't match up between this glitch project and raw.github.usercontent.com. So like it's a thing that just needs to get I believe if the file is getting blocked from then it's a problem on the other end, but I honestly, cross origin configuration stuff is so confusing. I couldn't tell you exactly more detail than that, but there's something in terms of server configuration that doesn't match between your page and this page. So the way around it is just download this file, which I do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download the zip file. You won't see this part, but I'm just uploading it directly to, so now this JS file is part of your code base rather than it's hosted with all of your other files, as opposed to
Okay.
being hosted on another server somewhere that has a different configuration. So this is kind of, honestly, this is kind of an edge case that you've run into. But now we can do, or at least this is something that you shouldn't have to worry about until you're much further down the road with web development.
Right.
But so now we can just do sources jQuery.media.js. Reload the page. Okay, that's, you can ignore that, but we don't have that cross origin error anymore. Something else is wrong.
Yeah, I've been
Welcome to web development. This is
I even like I asked a friend of mine who's a developer, I was like, why can't I get this to work? And they were like, I don't even really know.
it was working when we demoed it. That's the, like, I think we got it, like we got it loading a piece of media, right?
So we got like the actual JS plugin works to open a new tab with the PDF reader, and
Okay.
I uploaded a PDF. But to open it in the Lightbox, it just hasn't. I haven't done it yet, and I think last time we did this, it was before I added the jQuery.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's step through it here. Let's make sure that. Yep. Okay. Then PDF equals. Okay. Oh, what's event target? Hang on. Aha. All right. Okay.
Really seeing your aha.
So the event target is actually the event target is actually the image inside the link rather than the link itself. And the image doesn't have an href attribute. So let's do this. We have access inside the context of this element, or of this, inside the context of this function, we have access to a property called this. We talked about, we used this when we were building data objects to sort of like, for an object to refer to itself. Here in the context of this function, I'm just going to console log it, and we should see this the word this in this case should spit out an anchor element as opposed to an image element. Yep. Okay. So because the click event is bound to is bound to the link. That's what this means in the context of this function, as opposed to the image inside the link. I know this is confusing and really, 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 really like needle point detail here, but it's like, this is kind of, we didn't really spend much time talking about JavaScript event propagation, but what that means is that basically, so we have a, where's the, okay. Oh, that's empty. Where did the links go? Weird. Hang on. Okay. But so when I click on this element, the first thing that the event hits is the image. Then it hits the anchor and it bubbles out up the DOM tree. So, so that's why
we're not actually getting. That's why when we looked up this attribute, the value of this attribute, it was coming back undefined. We can get around that. Instead of using event.target, event.target worked when there was just text inside the link element. But as soon as we put another element inside the link element, that became the event target. It's kind of a lot to throw at you on the second to last day of class. I'm sorry, but the point is we can get around it by using the this element or the this reference. So let's go back to here. Let's just refresh the page for good measure. So now event.prevent default, that still stops it. That still works as we want. Let PDF equal this. So now this is that media link, that a.media, and it has href, which is a link to a PDF. So all right, then we dynamically create that element. We append it to the lightbox. We show the lightbox, and then we initialize the plugin. Moment of truth, fingers crossed. Hey, there it is.
Okay.
So now it just needs a little styling. We can do that by, there's a few ways we can do that. We can pass, when we initialize the media, also you should have a semicolon at the end here. When you initialize the, oh, let me go back to the example. When you initialize the plugin, you can pass in a width and a height that it should conform to. And since everything you're showing is PDF documents that are going to be 8.5 by 11 inches, you can use that. You know, you have a fixed ratio there. You can sort of set a default width that or height that these things should be. And then you'll be able to just set the height of the lightbox to be exactly the same. And then the lightbox will pop open and be exactly the same size as the media viewer that spawns inside it. Okay.
Okay.
I hope that wasn't sort of too much to throw on you on like the second to last day here. It looks like, oh, one thing we need to do here. Okay. This is another thing. Because .media is the class you're using for all your links to open the lightbox, in your close lightbox function, you have a call to remove every single one of those. That's why they had all disappeared when I had to refresh the page. So what we want to remove instead is this, the one that we create and insert inside the lightbox.
Okay. Okay.
You follow?
Yeah, following.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I think that's been about that's about 24 minutes, which is
okay.
The time I have. But yeah, feel free if you have more questions before next. This is looking good. This is looking really good so far. And honestly, you know, great work even getting to the point where you had to address these bugs. Like, this is looking great. But if you have other questions and want to do another one-on-one meet sometime before next Wednesday, just shoot me an email.
Okay, yeah. To format the PDF inside the lightbox, is that sort of the same principles as, you know, what we've been learning, or is it kind of totally different because it's
basically the same principles. The lightbox element itself, it's like you don't need to worry about the PDF. You just need to worry, like, let's just do this. Let's look at the, when I open this thing, turn off the debugger here. So basically, wow, that popped the, okay, because it's in pull, okay. So let me, it opened in a separate debugger window, sorry, but it's, here, I'll just swap which screen I'm sharing. So that, here, so, let's see, you should be seeing my entire, yeah. So when I, so I'll close this. It pops up a completely different debug element, but that's because that is applied to this embed. But this embed element, you can set the width and height on in CSS, just like anything else. So it works. So it's a different element than you've seen, but it works exactly the same way when it comes to positioning and sizing.
Okay.
It's just one of the things that the plugin exposes for you is the ability to just ignore it in CSS and pass those dimensions in when you start up the plugin in JavaScript.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Cool.
I might to ask you a few more questions like later on, but
That's fine. Yeah, just feel free. Shoot me an email whenever, whatever you need.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Let's just real quick make sure that. Hang on, I need to. Okay. Oh, it's just the one. It's just the one link at the moment, right?
Yeah. I haven't added
Okay.
separate. Just sort of trying to like get the functionality in there first.
Okay. Let's make sure these are opening. Okay, is it just one test PDF that you're using right now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So we should be good then.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, just shoot me an email if you have more questions.
Okay, I will.
Okay. Sarah, you apologies again for missing our scheduled time today.
Oh, no worries.
Do you have a preference of presenting to the whole class or using a breakout room?
I don't care at all.
Okay.
Whatever's easier.
Okay. It's probably a little simpler to just present to the class. So,
Okay.
you should have the ability to share your screen. And if you wouldn't mind popping your, just dropping your link in the chat.
Oh God.
That's fine. You can send me that exact link.
This link?
Yeah.
Okay. How do I open the chat? Okay.
Cool.
Okay. So I'm working on my about page right now and
Okay.
the menu bar. Okay, I think I'm doing a lot of things wrong, but I think the biggest thing that I was working on today was like, I wanted to kind of get like, for example, my friend's website, she like has a photo and then she has this text box on the side of the photo.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried a bunch of different ways. Like there was one where someone was like, you should use like a floater in the CSS, but like it wasn't really working. So I ended up just like fixing all of the boxes pretty much, which I'm not sure if that's like the right way to do it.
That's not exactly advisable.
Yeah, I just feel like that. I don't know how it. Well, yeah, I'm sure there's like an impact. So if there's any other way to do it that you advise, that would be helpful.
Yeah, let's do this. So I'm in your index.html file right now.
Yes.
Let me just let's do this. Let's clean up your formatting a little bit. Oh, hang on. I'm going to request to join the project. You should see.
Yes.
Am I like in an anonymous? Why am
yeah.
Oh, this is in the wrong browser. I'm sorry. I will hang on. Sorry, Firefox is my default browser, but I use Chrome for my classroom, and it just didn't like. Okay, so now, all right. There's a request to join project from me now.
Oh, okay.
Great, thank you.
Mhm. Should I click the format this file button first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
Line 36.
let's see. It said that was at line 36.
Line
Let's see.
36, yeah.
Oh, I see it. Your style attribute on the div class circle,
Oh,
that's a colon instead of an equals. So that's
why do I even need this? I don't.
you need the quotation mark. Yeah.
Oh, I know, but do I need this style? I think I
No,
moved
you don't
it
actually.
to my CSS actually.
Mhm. All right. So try hitting the format file button now.
Oh, 53. Oh, this is another problem that I've been having. Okay, 55. Yeah, the other thing that I was trying to do was like link the icon font.
Yeah, you're missing you were missing the equal sign right there. And
Oh
that
my
was
God.
breaking the link.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So
Is that how you do it though? Can you put a span inside of the href?
yeah, you can put it. Yeah, exactly. You can put a span inside of that anchor tag.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, my two main problems are the positioning, which I'm having a little bit of a hard time. Just like I was like rereading through the boxes assignment that we did, and it's still a little bit confusing to me. And then the other thing was I like cannot find the icon font for TikTok, and I was watching a bunch of videos.
That sucks.
And it's just
It's
it seems like they only have it on like Font Awesome or something. And
okay. Font Awesome is good, but it's just a slightly more confusing
yeah,
like
it's confusing.
method for yeah. They make you pull in a JavaScript file and make an account and stuff. And I try to avoid using Font Awesome with first semester students for exactly that reason.
Got
But
it. Okay.
But that's a thing we can kind of explore another time. Let's focus on this positioning thing. So all right, you have the body, and then you have immediately okay. So for one thing, you've confused a head and a header. So the head element of the document, remember, nothing in there is meant to be read by people except for the title of the page in the title bar. Everything that goes in the head is well, the link to the style sheet goes in there and the JavaScript file goes in there. But everything starting from here down, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everything starting from I'll move it. Everything starting from here down in your header should go in here in the body of the page.
Okay.
Just remember, if it's visible content on the page, it goes inside the body.
Okay.
So we can do, but we can take advantage of this to inject a little semantic markup in here, make this a little easier to read, and use a header element, which the point of this element is literally just to illustrate to you, the developer, this is the header of the document, and like make it easier. It's literally just here to make the code easier to read.
Got it.
So then the nav works the same way. Like it doesn't have to, you don't have to put links inside a nav element. but it just helps to make the code more readable.
Oh, okay.
So now one thing we can do, we've got this, we've got these two elements here.
Which elements? Sorry.
You've got this div,
Oh,
the
yeah,
circle,
yeah.
and then this
Yes.
other div that's the body.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is wrap those in a containing element. And for the sake of continuing with using semantic markup, I'm just going to use the main element, which
Mhm.
just says, this is the main content area.
God. Okay.
And then we'll close that tag. Then, did you experiment with using flex boxes to make this work?
No, I think I just use regular boxes.
Okay.
Maybe.
I think a
yeah.
flex box is going to be your answer here. I'm going
Oh,
to,
okay.
so here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to delete anything from your CSS. I'm in style.css now, by the way. I'm not going to delete
okay.
anything,
Yes.
but I'm just going to wrap them in comments so that they're deactivated.
Okay.
I'm also going to do the same thing here on that. I'm just going to remove the fixed positioning that you have
Yes.
on those. That's all. So now, both of the dot circle and the dot body element are children of this main.
Yes. Oh.
So I'm
okay.
going to set that to display flex. See how it already snapped things over?
Yeah.
We're going to do or is it align? Sorry, I always get there's like the flex. I always get the flex properties mixed up, honestly. Let me look it up real quick. I keep that CSS tricks guide to Flexbox
Okay.
open in the background all the time when I'm working on like real projects. So do not be afraid to like, coding is a very imperfect art in that you're never done learning it, and it's never wrong or bad of you to go back and look things up,
Okay.
because there's no way to know all of it. So right, okay. So for the flex properties, we have display flex. Right, we will add flex direction row, just to reiterate, even though that's the default. And we will add justify content space between, and that should, or actually we'll do space evenly, actually. And then so what we need is align items. Let's start. Maybe not. Oh, wait. I know what it is. Do you have, okay. So it's this, let's do this. Let's take this padding top and padding bottom and move them
okay.
off of the body and just put them on main instead.
God. Okay. In the in the
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my mistake. I want to put them here. And actually, maybe we'll make these margin instead. So we should get. All right, but still, we're already in a much sort of closer place to where I think you wanted to be.
Yeah.
So we can, so this can, if you, do you have this open in a new tab?
No. Here I can.
Yeah, just, or actually, if, yeah, there's an easier way to do it than that. But here, if you resize the window, you'll see how, like, in that new, or yeah, here, scroll up. Where it, oh yeah, the drop down where it says show.
Oh.
Yeah, that'll pop it open in a new window.
Oh.
But if you just resize this window
Mm-hmm.
and watch how see how those behave now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think that this is a lot closer to where you wanted this design to be than with everything sort of fixed position, right?
Yes.
What we can also do, if you go back to your style.css, one thing we can do, we have a fixed width on both. So the circle is 300 pixels and the width is 500 pixels. Okay. So a thing we can do, I'm scrolling down to the very end of style.css.
Mm-hmm.
We can for screens that are 800 pixels and smaller, we'll change the flex direction to a column instead of a row.
Mm-hmm.
And now
Okay.
on smaller screens, as soon as it goes to the point where it would start overflowing, it just snaps over to
Yeah.
being a column instead.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, once you get the hang of flex boxes, they're super powerful.
Oh. So how do you make it so that like would this have to be in a fixed box then?
What do you mean?
The menu and the logo?
No, not at all. If we
Or do those also have to be in a flex?
they don't have to be in a flex either. The flex is basically just helpful for the flex is useful in this situation because you have two items of different height and you're trying to vertically align them
Oh,
either in a row or in a column, depending on the size of the screen you're on. So, so
okay.
the flex gives you the flexibility to do that.
Got it. Okay.
If we take the positioning out of the logo, all that's going to happen is it's going to snap like that. But you know, it's now if you so your logo is a div, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. So that means it's going to take up the full width of its container, and anything that comes after it is going to start on a new line.
Okay.
So if you don't want that to be the case, you can reposition it. You can but you should never like, you should only use fixed positioning if you specifically want to like pin things to the edges of, if it's like a very explicit design decision to pin things to the edges of the browser window so that they don't scroll, so that other content can scroll past them. You know, if that's not an effect you're trying to get, then
Okay.
you probably don't want, if you're not trying to get that specific effect, you probably don't really need to use fixed positioning.
So like this footer shouldn't be fixed either because
No.
Okay. Oh, okay.
unless you want it to stay fixed to the bottom of the browser window like that.
Oh, okay. Got it. So how do you make it so that it's like fixed, but not fixed? Like, like it stays in one corner. You just, or at the bottom of the page.
So where exactly do you want the logo to be?
Oh, well, I just wanted it to be on the top, like top left.
Okay. It might be, let me check something here. Let's just check what it's literally just, the extra space that's around it right now is just, I think that's just the extra space in your image.
Yeah, it's
So-
the extra space in my image.
Yeah. So you have two options. You could either crop the image a little bit,
Okay.
or if you want to do it, okay, here's one thing we can do.
I mean,
We
it's
can,
supposed to be a transparent background, but
right.
not mad. Okay.
Well, one thing we can do instead is, let's do this. So we have you have the image contained in a container element.
Okay.
We can basically do the same kind of thing we did for the picture of you in the circle, just without the rounded borders. In order to like just resize the container element and crop the image that way. So your image is 250 pixels wide. Oh, let me do this in CSS. I'm in my browser DevTools. So let's your images. The image's raw width is 250 pixels,
Yes.
and its raw height is 150 pixels.
Yeah.
We'll set the overflow to hidden. And now go over to the copy of this page that you have open in the new tab. Right click on the logo, hit inspect. And over in the right where the style rules and the picture of the box model is, scroll up and
Yes.
down in there, because you should have not in the actual box model part, but just sort of like this whole thing is like a tray with tools in it. Oh, I'm sorry. Click so back over in the element inspector, click the div ID logo rather than the
Oh, okay.
okay. So now just lower that width and height until the image is cropped to where it should be.
Oh.
You can
should I
temporarily if you hold so one thing you can do to make this easier to see, just here in the dev tools, throw on a rule that adds a 1 pixel solid border, just so that you can see where the edges of the container are.
Wait, what? Where?
Right now, just type border
Okay.
and then type 1 pixel solid black. You have to include the word solid too. Yeah, okay. So now you can see where the edges of the element are, right?
Yes.
And you can adjust your width and height, and you'll be able to tell where it kind of crops off that that image a little more. Another tip is that when you're using those developer tools, you can hold down the shift button and use the up and down arrow keys to go up and down in increments of 10 instead of increments of 1. So
okay. Wait, sorry, arrow tools? Hold down the shift key?
yeah, and the arrow keys on your keyboard.
Oh,
Just type out 150 pixels. Yeah.
yeah.
And now hold down shift and hit the up arrow and down arrow on your keyboard, and it should, yep.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
And we can also do the same way that you added a new rule for the border, add a rule for text align center.
Center.
Yeah. All right. Well, this will take a little tweaking, but you know, if you just finesse it until you find the right value, you'll be able to kind of like, you know, position this thing a little more.
How do you? So like obviously it's just taking off the bottom.
Mhm.
So
You can do if you click.
how do you center your thing to this in this box?
There's a couple
Is there-
ways we could do that. The quickest and easiest, go one level deeper, click on the image itself in the inspector. Oh no, click on the element, not the like where it first says image. Yeah. So now up under where it says element.style,
Yes.
you can just add rules here. And so one of the secrets about what you should try is using the top margin and the left margin and give them negative values. And what that'll have the effect of doing is pulling the image up and over. Margin dash top is the rule.
Okay.
And just add like minus 20 pixels. Right. And if you do margin left and add a negative pixel value, you can pull it over to the left in the same way.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Right. So now you can use these to kind of like tighten it up to that top left corner and then fit the size of the container element to, you know.
oh, okay.
Furthermore, if what you want is for the nav links to be in line with it or on the same line with it,
Yeah.
just go back to the rules for the logo element.
Okay.
And change its display property. So add a rule that says display and make it inline dash block. So the nav element is, or actually you have the links you have are in an ordered list, which is also block display. So you'll have a few other things you need to turn off in order to make that happen.
Mhm.
But there's sort of like, it's like lots of little things that you have to set just right to make this thing work, you know?
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so it's kind of like from here, you would now have to reset the display mode of the ordered list and then of each of the list items inside of it. So you would have to reset CSS in a few more places in order to make those links line up with the logo.
Can you do it like you did these two elements or no?
You can, but the thing is, they're text. So if you could totally just make the header into another flex box
Yeah.
and use the same flex rules to line everything up. That would work. It's just you can also do it using if you change everything to inline block display or inline display, then you can just use text alignment rules to fix everything. But whichever's easier, honestly. I'm just trying to show you what your options are.
Okay.
I would suggest before you we should probably move on here, but
Yeah.
all of those rules that you added here for the logo,
Mhm.
you're going to want to copy all of that out of the browser tools and paste it into the CSS document in your glitch viewer.
Oh, like here or
Yeah.
here. Oh, okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Oh shoot.
Oh,
no.
wrong.
Okay. Okay. I can do that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So let's see. Who's Chloe? Would you rather Would you rather present to the class or go in a breakout room?
Oh, I don't mind. We can stay in the class.
Okay,
Fine.
cool.
Let me share.
Yeah. And again, just drop the link in the link to your project in the chat.
Okay. The editing link or just like
The edit link should work. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, hold on. Let me send this as well. Did that work?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So right now, I was able to get it to spin and the text to show up,
Cool.
but I can't move the text to like the center of the smiley, like right behind it.
Got it. Okay.
And I also wanted to double check the Flexbox and like how these are all displayed right now. Like if I'm in full screen mode, everything is basically in its right position, for example, like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to check the code to see if it's actually correct.
Okay. Okay. Let's take a look at that. I'm looking at your. Okay, so the div with the class of triple has
Yeah.
the 3 elements in it. Got
Yeah.
it. And that one you're using. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, these are all right. Yeah, and then okay, so it's all right. I see it's starting to drift when so what's happening is the once you get below a certain screen size of let me calculate that here. So once you get so as long as you're above about 1100 pixels,
Mhm.
everything lines up.
Okay.
And then, but once you get to your breakpoint here is about 1000 pixels on the nose.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe a hair more, maybe more like 10, 12 or something like that.
Okay.
But what's happening is there's no more if you let's see. Did you stop sharing your screen?
No?
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
can you
okay.
not see my screen
Yeah, I
anymore?
got it. I got it. So if you
Okay.
scroll down,
Yeah.
basic those 3 elements that are contained in the flex box,
Yeah.
there's no more space for them to that, like they're as close together as they can get.
Yeah.
But the heart keeps
Yeah.
drifting over to the left. So what you
Oh,
can
like that.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So what you could do is I think a way around that would be to see here. Let me think on this. This is an interesting one. I think that basically what we need to do is when you resize your screen, Like right now, once we drop below about, 1,000 pixels and change,
Mhm.
that flex box just stops moving.
Yeah.
It needs to continue to, or wait. Okay. Okay. I have a thought.
Yeah.
So you have a margin of 100 pixels. Is that more for the vertical spacing?
I can't remember why I put 100 pixels for that.
Okay. So, but basically what's going to happen if you slide everything over, eventually the heart will line up more or less with like the first sun, because
Yes.
everything has a margin of 100 pixels
Yeah.
on all sides.
Yeah.
What we can do those elements have do you know the width of those elements in the cloud and the sun and the and all those things? Yeah, you do. Okay. They're all
I think they're all 200.
they're all 250. Yeah. Okay. Great. So we know that a full width of a sun plus half the width of a cloud is 375 pixels. So bear with me here. I'm back over in your CSS file.
Okay.
I'm going to change this from I'm going to change this from 100 pixels to 10%.
Okay.
Uh,
Why is it better to work in percentage versus like in pixel terms?
percentages are fluid, so it's not necessarily better. It's just in some cases you want the fluidity of a percentage rather than a rather than a fixed value. Because
Okay.
now, as I shrink the page, 10% of 900 pixels, 10% of 700 pixels, the
Oh, I see. The pixels as in like the pixel size of the screen we're
yes.
looking at. Okay.
Yes. So now we have a little bit of squish happening in that sort of triple row, right? They kind of shrink and expand a little bit instead of being always bolted in place. Now, what we can do, and actually I'm going to add something else here. We're going to leave 100 pixels margin on the top and bottom so that part of your design stays in place. And here, what we'll do on the heart, we'll use the calc rule. The calc rule allows you to calculate values on the fly, and it will compute different units of measure for you. So I can do 10% plus 375 pixels. And so what that should do is now basically offset. I think this will work.
It kind of works until
okay.
if it's like mobile size, I think it won't work.
Okay. Well, in that case, you might want to just go in with a media query and change the sizing on mobile, on smaller screens anyway.
Yeah.
To be a different value. But this calc method is really handy because it will let you mix and match fixed values and relative values and just compute them together.
Okay.
It's possible that we need to multiply them instead of adding them. I don't think that's the case. I think we want to add them, but yeah, that seems worse, right? Yeah, so that calc tool.
Actually, I'm not sure. This might be better.
Oh, I changed it back to the plus.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, it kind of works. It's close. In which case, basically, I think you just need to tweak it some, to just sort of like massage those values a little bit and try and make it work.
Okay.
But let's get back to the other thing that you were talking about with the text that you wanted to have.
Yeah.
By the way, looking at this on my screen,
Yeah.
that text that I celebrate the wins big and small is like really difficult
Oh
to
yeah,
read against
no,
the pink.
that's not the right color.
Okay.
Yeah, it was meant to be another, color.
Okay. Yeah, just that one is like
Yeah, we
particularly
can change it to black for now.
cool. Okay. Oh, that's white though. You want 0, 0,
Oh,
0,
yeah.
0, 0, 0. Yep. Okay, cool. So let's look at your markup. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think all we really have to do here is yeah, okay. I think what we can do is just we'll add position relative on the parent, on that parent smiley container, which has both the paragraph and the emoji in it, the spinning emoji. Then we'll go down here. Yeah, okay. I think that this rule was in here and might have accidentally gotten erased. This is where absolute positioning becomes really handy.
Mhm.
So try it now.
Oh yeah.
All we so now you just have to sort of finesse the sizing of that paragraph a little bit.
Yep.
And like, I think what you want to add rather than height, what you want to add is margins and line height.
And line height. Okay.
Line height is the height of an entire line of text, including white space above and below, and the text rides in the middle.
Okay.
So for instance, if you set your line height to okay, so your smiley spin is 5em. Your smiley element should be taking up the same amount of space. But you can specifically go in and make it 5em height as well. I'll do that. And then if we make the line height of the paragraph 5em, it should have the effect of, okay, it's thrown off some other positioning stuff, but that can be cleaned up later. We should get, but you see how we get it, it's coming closer to like vertically centered. Yeah. Yeah, so let's see. Oh, I think it's the I take the height 5em off. Okay, so okay, it's still the right, my screen is just smaller, so it's that the heart's position is being thrown off by that calc margin that's still a little off.
Mm-hmm.
But it's getting closer. But yeah, basically, if you have two elements that need to share the same
Yeah,
physical space,
yeah.
it's just one of them has to be absolute positioned. That's really the only
Okay.
yeah. And then just make sure that whichever one needs to be on top. So right now, in markup, the paragraph comes after the span with the smiley in it.
Yeah.
Which means that it's going to, if you stack it vertically, the one that's last in the document will be
Mhm.
on top. So like whichever one comes second will be on top. If
Okay.
that wasn't the case, if the thing that you want on top isn't showing up,
Yeah.
you can use the Z index property to manually set that. But
Okay.
in this case, you don't really need to mess with Z index because it's already where it should be.
Yeah. Okay. And
Sorry, I'm just noticing something here in your markup. Once again, you ended your body tag before any of the smiley stuff and stuff like that. So I'm just fixing that for you right now.
okay.
Okay. So that's looking good.
So for example, like if let's say the next animation, I wanted to make the heart like a beating heart when you hover over it, for example. Is that a JavaScript?
No, you can do that with a CSS animation.
Oh, I can do that. Okay. I'll look it
Mhm.
up.
Yep. That's one that you're going to want to use. So since you have sort of, if you, when you roll over the heart, you want a continuous looping effect, right?
Right.
Yeah, you'll need to use the animation there instead of the transition,
Okay.
but it should be pretty simple. You just apply the animation name to the hover state only.
Okay.
And basically it'll be really simple. You can do, it'll be something like this. Here, let's do this too. Let's clean up your line 76. Yep, thought so. Okay. So it'll be something like this.
Because it's basically like enlarging and minimizing, right?
Exactly. So all you need to do is from transform scale, like say 120% to transform scale 90% or something like that.
Yeah.
And then or wait, I'm sorry, animation duration should be, let's say 1 second or 0.6 seconds. And all right, and then let's see. Yeah, try it out.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yep.
That's very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, CSS animations are super cool and
Yeah.
super powerful.
Wow.
And remarkably easy, actually.
And can I also put a second hover state over it?
No, you can't do that. You would have to
Actually, that wouldn't make sense. I mean, there's only one hover.
right. What you could do is have a second element positioned directly underneath the heart,
Right.
and you could apply a hover state to both of them, kind of in the same way that we
Okay.
like in the element above, we're applying transitions to both that spinning
Yeah.
smiley face and the paragraph
Yeah.
by using the hover state of their parent.
Yeah.
You could do that if you want to affect two things with one hover state, but you can't get two hover states on one element.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yep. This is looking good. Looking forward to seeing how it looks next week.
Thanks. I might
Uh,
have to schedule another one-on-one though.
That's
before
fine.
I get this in.
That's
Okay.
totally fine.
right.
Yep, I've got time. So yeah, just shoot me an email.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So Henrika.
Mhm. I can put the link in the chat.
Sure.
So I haven't been able to work much on this since our meeting yesterday.
Right. We only just
Um,
talked the other day. So.
Yeah, I was just trying to get the Flexbox to work, like what we discussed for the homepage content. And I'm not entirely sure if I correctly understood what you put in the code here. So what I tried right now was to have my two different classes, like I just tried it out with like these two elements.
Sure.
To put these to display flex. But somehow with this one, my type link completely vanished. And I don't know where it went.
Okay. Just a second. Sorry.
And also like this spacing, I got so big once I set the display to flex.
Oh yeah, it looks like some stuff is just kind of like not the links are still in your page. Like the actual tags are still in there. They're just not showing up anymore.
Yeah.
Well, let's figure that out. Oh, okay. Wait, what? Why isn't it?
And I tried to switch the order around in the HTML file because I thought maybe that's the issue, but then the text showed up and the image vanished.
Yeah. Okay. For some. Wow. This is weird. Honestly. Somehow when you initialized the Flexbox on the second div, it made the size of that page that size of that element went up to like 800 pixels. So the link to the motion design reel link is still there. It's just way further down the page for some reason. But that in and of itself is kind of strange. Let's see. This is, this is really weird.
But like concept wise, that is what you meant, right? To have like a flex box here, then
Yeah.
one underneath for each of those elements.
Yeah, although, you know, yeah, that is conceptually, yes, that's what I meant. Justify content. Right, okay. But why does that element why on earth does that? I'm sorry, I'm really stumped by this. It's the because like
Oh no.
the I haven't seen a flex box do this particular thing before. I don't know if that's extremely. Oh man. Okay. All right. You know what it is? You
What is
have
it?
these you have these really really high if you go to style.css
Mm-hmm.
and go to motion design A, like the selection where you're adding
Yeah.
adding that 32% of padding. As soon as you change it to a flex box, it's basing 32% on a different number.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
This is
I don't know why I did this.
yeah. So if you just take out
Yeah.
that, there's like some big padding values on some of those on like on motion design A and on stop motion A, and if you take those out, it should help.
But now the text went to the other side.
Right. So now we
So
so
is
we
it
can
then
do,
row reverse?
yes. There's some typo in your flex direction row reverse in how you wrote flex direction row reverse. There it goes. Okay. And so now it just needs just if you do justify content center
Okay.
or well, let's see also.
But somehow the box is now bigger, right?
Oh, you've got a really
this?
wide, you've got a really wide margin, left hand side margin on the image itself. If you look at the rule at line
66, is it that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what you want to do is let the don't do that spacing on the elements that, like, don't use padding and margin on the images and the links themselves to do your spacing. Let the Flexbox handle that part.
Okay, so I'm taking this out.
You can leave the margin top, just it's the margin left that's like making it so wide spaced out.
Okay.
Now we're getting, and now it's right. Now it's looking more like what we want.
Okay. Okay, got it. So I just have to apply all of that to the other elements now.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
For sure. That was a puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have what how else
sorry,
how else is it going? Oh, that's okay.
That is the only thing I did since yesterday, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely work on it over the weekend.
Okay, sounds good. One thing that I was, if I might share my screen for a second,
Mhm.
one thing that I was suggesting with respect to, there was something I mentioned in my comment.
Mhm.
So here I said, create an overall class that affects all of them. So what I meant by that was you can sort of have instead of having an individual class for each one of these that you write the same rule for several times, what you can do is call this, say, section class row. Let's call this one.
But isn't that my container class that already contains all of these classes?
Well, you're using that container class, but you're using that container class to sort of like set up the overall like just parent element for all of these. But the thing is, you don't have to sort of keep going through and rewriting displayed flex, justify content, display flex, justify content. You can just do that in like one shot. So that's so for instance, what I meant was, so if I just go through all of these and add this isn't going to change, like nothing's going to change yet, you know. So now I can say and then instead of having to do that, instead of having to apply that class to each one individually, I can write one, or actually here, I don't want to delete stuff as much. So I'll just use comments here. But basically, I don't need to have an individual class for, I think there's one, there we go. Okay. So I don't need an individual class for all of these, you know, like, we'll leave the ones for the, a lot of these values look like they're repeating as well. So for instance, basically anytime you find yourself repeating a lot of values, that's kind of a clue that that's something you can optimize. So like instead of, so now I can just do this. And this is going to apply to all of those. And I don't need to write it over and over again for each image. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That one is different. So we'll leave it be. And it's overriding our original rule anyway. But this one's the same. So, right. So those kind of optimizations were kind of the, that kind of optimization was kind of what I was trying to point you towards with that that comment about like an overall class that affects everything.
Okay, got it.
But either way, you this is moving in a great direction.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So all right. My team is not here. So Gabriella, would you care to, do you want to show to the whole class, or would you rather use a breakout room?
I could put it in the class for the class.
Okay.
Okay. Should I share screen?
Sure.
Okay. I don't really have that many questions about
Okay.
the website. It's mostly just I forgot how to do the hamburger menu like over here. So
Oh,
I
sure.
tried searching how to do it, and like there's so many ways to do it. I feel like I didn't get it right at all. So
Okay. Yeah, there are multiple ways to do it. That's very true. So, all right, I see what you were doing.
yeah,
You were
with the checkbox.
and then you show and hide a drop down based on that, right?
Yeah, but it wouldn't hide, and it just doesn't. It didn't work. Like I think I must have messed up somewhere, but I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Where's your JavaScript? Your script.js file is empty.
That's the thing for. I searched up and I saw one that had HTML and CSS, so that's what it said. I didn't understand how, but I tried that and it didn't work.
Yeah, it's so yeah, it's possible to achieve these effects only using HTML and CSS, but it's honestly it's easier to just do it in JavaScript because like you're basically people can do that using like essentially just using CSS hacks. So it's like really it takes very advanced CSS to pull that off, and it's very easy to mess it up if you're not like on that skill level. So I would really suggest you just stick with JavaScript. But you've already got jQuery included, so this is like a 2-line thing, like a 2 or 3 line thing in JavaScript to do. So if you go over to script.js, I'll show you how to write it out. So the first thing that we want to do is one difference here is we're not one difference between how sort of like the way we're going to do this and the way we've done other click stuff is that we're not going to bind to. So with the way you have this set up, one thing you might notice is that when you click, you have the hamburger menu on the label for that checkbox, and when you click on the hamburger menu, the checkbox toggles.
Yeah.
So we're going to harness that functionality, but it's just a different event than we've looked at before. So instead of directly using a click event, we're going to use an event called change that just is not listening for a mouse click, but it's just looking to see if the value of the checkbox changed. So what we're going to do is we're going to do
excuse me, just for a second.
Sure, what's up?
If I stop share because my computer's heating up a lot.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I can share instead. It has been a minute since I've done this. I might need to look some things up and tweak it to make it work right. But
no problem.
Let's start by just doing console log event and seeing what that does. Okay, so the change event is working. let's do this. Okay, so that's basically the that's basically the all the pieces that we need in order to make this work. So what we'll do your menu is okay. Nav ID is hamnav. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep, I see how this was supposed to work.
Yeah.
So
Is it a label that I got wrong? Maybe I'm not sure.
it might be. Let's just not worry about it. Either way, we want the we never want that menu checkbox to be shown. So
Yeah.
oh, one thing that you did, if you look in markup, you have the class of menu checkbox, but the ID of hamburger. You what you wrote here was the ID selector.
Oh,
So let's see
okay.
what this does. You know, honestly, let's see what. Okay,
I mean,
it still doesn't work,
weird, yeah.
but let's just do this. So div ham items, got it. Okay. Yeah, part of it, it looks like you kind of like we're going back and forth and kind of mixing up where to use, you know, where to use class and ID selectors and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it
But
was a bit confusing because like they're using there was a ton of labels I saw being used for the classes and stuff when I saw in the exercise, and I wasn't sure what to put for mine instead.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's do this. Let's just. Oh, okay. Also, that's going to change things a little.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Well, now everything is hidden, but but nothing shows up.
So everything's just gone now.
Yeah, it's all still there. It's just invisible.
Yeah.
So, but we should still be. Oh, right. We'll use this element again.
Okay.
So, oh. Okay, so we have a toggle happen. We're getting true, false, true, false, true, false.
Right.
Okay, well, we want all right. We do want The thing about a lot of these, the reason that a lot of these CSS hack kind of solutions don't necessarily work is often because is often like cross browser stuff. It might work. This might very well work in Firefox. I don't know. It might work in a different version of Chrome than I'm running. I don't know. It's like sort of, that's part of why I recommend using JavaScript instead.
So maybe I should like try doing it over again because
well, we'll leave this in. If it, so that we still want this one. We still want the, and we still want the menu checkbox to be hidden. We're just going to move the functionality
to the JavaScript.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
We actually don't need to even check to see at all whether the checkbox is checked or not, because jQuery gives us a toggle method. We can just do this.
Oh, okay.
And now,
then, I need to get the...
so yeah, so there's a selector that's off because like, but from here on out, it's just CSS stuff to clean this up. And one other thing I might suggest on that, but literally see how much easier that was to do in jQuery than to try and do it without involving JavaScript.
Yeah.
Only other thing I would suggest is, let's see, where's our selection for, so we want to take this dot. You can, for menu items or for sort of like UI widgets like this, it's really handy to change the cursor on rollover just so it makes it a little more apparent.
Okay.
And you do that really simply by just using the CSS property as just cursor. And I like to use the pointer, which gives you the pointing finger. And now, bam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's really easy to update.
And so this is still just in the mobile version, right? So when this is in desktop, when you span it out, it won't show the
let's fix that. We will take there. Now they're hidden on desktop. And as soon as we bring this down to mobile size.
Okay.
Oh, well, then what we need to do on mobile size is just make or just block, I guess. Yep. So now, yeah, something in your media query is selecting everything on the page here. So just clean up this part. But yeah, just these two. Is there like a little? Yeah. Yeah, these two are okay. It's something up in here. It's something in this stuff that's making everything else hidden. So this is
it's back in HTML. There must be somewhere I must have put like, I think it's because I put a div for the grid, like the container.
Yeah. So, oh well, yeah. Everything. You know what? I think
I need to make another container, maybe.
Yeah, basically you've put everything on the page inside this nav. So you just need to.
Oh, it's
so
the nav.
yeah, everything is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's this ham items. Is I think you might have just forgotten a closing tag somewhere when if you were copy pasting or something like that.
Oh,
But
okay.
literally all of the content of your page is inside the nav menu. So all you need to do to move it out is like
Okay, just take it
copy
out
the stuff
then.
that shouldn't be in the nav bar and put it outside of the nav.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay,
Cool.
cool. Thanks. Looking forward to seeing how this looks next week.
Thanks.
And do you still want to meet Friday?
Yeah, I have time on Friday. I didn't say anything, but yeah.
Cool. Okay, sounds good. I'll
Thank
see you
you.
then.
Thanks.
All right. I think that leaves Daphne. Do you want to use a breakout room or are you comfortable in front of the class?
I guess I can show, I mean, I have a lot of questions. I haven't gotten super far.
Okay, that's fine.
So,
Well, other people may very well have the same questions. So,
okay. Just give me a second. I gotta pull it up.
sure.
Okay, so yeah, I started working. I haven't gotten super far, but I'm working on sort of putting together like the header and the footer that will be on every page, and then like this is my home page. And
Cool.
I'm having trouble because like maybe I need to change this. I can only get the index page to show up. I can't get the about page.
Ah, okay. Well, hang on a second. Let me get to your project. Hang on. I'm going to request to join it. If you click my, yeah. See where it says, can I join? Yeah, yeah. So if you're trying to get to those other pages, yeah, we never really, I think I kind of brushed over how multi-page sites work. Go back to your page in the other tab. Like the full tab.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then just go into the menu bar.
I haven't linked it up yet.
No, I know, yeah, but just go into the URL bar.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
add a slash and about.html.
Here?
Yeah. And hit enter.
Okay.
And there it is. So all the pages are there.
Yeah.
The way you add them up is using the way you link them together is using the exact same link tags that you've used for external links, for like to LinkedIn and Mail to and stuff like that. Just instead of putting a full email address to say www.w3schools.com, all you need to put in is about.html. So like,
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I know the default is always gonna be the index page and, so I just, yeah, I just wasn't sure why,
Mhm.
when I clicked on preview from the about page,
Oh yeah.
it
The preview
automatically,
always show, actually, if you want to preview a specific page, you see that button that says change URL
yeah.
right above
I've
like
seen,
your name.
I've seen that.
Yeah. If you click that button, you can redirect it. By default, it always goes to the index page, but there you can add, if you add about.html here, then you can see it in the sidebar preview.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's helpful.
Okay.
And then the other thing that I'm running into is like I added this color to the header, but there's like white around it. I don't understand why it's doing that.
Let's try
And
and oh, you know what it probably is? Are you pulling in? No, you are not. I would recommend pulling in a CSS reset sheet, because what's happening is that if you go over, actually just go over to the new tab that you have open with the page in the new, with like your homepage in the new tab. Yeah. And inspect just anywhere. And in the developer tools, go all the way out to, you can close the console at the bottom there.
sorry, the Zoom
Oh yeah, sorry.
is
So
getting in my way. Hold on.
yeah, the Zoom UI, it does that. That's annoying. Or at the bottom, there's kind of like another console open that says what's new and everything. You can, yep, exactly. So go back up to elements. And you can drag that so that like you have you need to scroll up in where it shows the actual elements themselves. Down a little more. So, and just click on the body, like just click on the opening tag for the body. Yep, margin 8 pixels. That's why there's white. And if you turn on if you add a CSS reset, it'll wipe default margins, because not every browser does an 8-pixel margin by default on the body of a page.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of where I am right now.
Okay.
I think I'll have probably questions. And
That's,
for the fonts,
yeah.
do we add that to like the home, like do we add that like to the homepage, like as a style sheet almost?
Yeah, and if you're going to reuse it on your about page and your other page, you're going to need to add it to those too.
Okay, so all the pages will have to have.
What I would suggest doing is just copy paste the entire head from index.html and paste it into about and every subpage. So,
Okay,
so that you have every style sheet that's in there.
And I should do the same with like header and footer.
Exactly.
I guess that was the other question I had is like, so say we are on, like, say I'm on the about page and I want it to show that the about page is active. Like that's bold.
So,
Do you just sort of modify the header on that one page, or do you sort of do like an override or something?
That's exactly what you do. If you want to, so here, I'm on your index.html. I'm here in the nav right now. If the way you want this to work is that these are, here's how you can do this. You can do href equals, the hash is blank because we're on the home page. We don't need to go there. And then if you want it bold, you can just add, say, a strong element.
So you can just do like an inline kind of thing.
Exactly. And then I would close that, point this at about.html. And so on and so forth. Or I'm sorry, yeah, about would be the next element. Sorry about that.
Yeah, the home pages actually work, and then.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
The other one's about. But I guess the name could also go back to the work.
Yeah, if it's in the okay. Also, the nav element is for a collection of links, not each individual link. So you don't need to have each of these links inside its own nav like this. You can have one nav, and then all of these are in there.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, because I think I did a nav and then I did like a list, but then it started making everything a bullet.
Yeah, that's a standard. Making everything a bullet, doing it as an unordered list is kind of is a standardized way to do it that I think I demonstrated, and that you also might have seen in other examples.
Yeah, I've
And
seen
it
it in
does make it,
examples.
and it makes it look like a bullet list by default. So then you go through and override all of that stuff in CSS.
Got it.
But that's really kind of the impression I get is that using unordered lists for nav elements is a convention that's falling by the wayside now that this nav this is okay. Now that this nav semantic element
Got
exists.
it. Yeah, that makes sense. And then the other thing that I was struggling with a little bit is the other thing that I was struggling a little bit with is sorry, I forgot what I was gonna say.
It's all good.
I'm really tired.
I feel you.
So yeah, I was struggling with the header, and then I was struggling with, let me see. Yeah, so how to modify a header on each page and make it different. Oh,
Yep.
the other thing was I was adding section, and if you want to add like a style to a specific section, but not all sections,
You would
does
add
that
an
mean you did?
what you would do is add an ID or class to that element to add the specific overrides for that section.
Okay,
So for instance,
these
so like
styles, I want it just to apply to like this one section here.
to the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a couple. You could either actually, there are a few things. There are a few ways to do this. You can, one way, very straightforward way, would be to add a, what is happening? Where is my? Okay. One thing, very straightforward, add a class, something like that.
Okay.
Then let's say I'm jumping over to style.css. Let's say I want to override something very specifically, like, hey, you have the color set to black for all your sections. If I want the first one to be green, I can just do, if you jump over to, I'm in your style.css sheet now.
Yeah.
You can do dot first and add color green, something like that. And now your first paragraph is green, but all of your other sections are still black.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
You could, this will work with an ID also. The only difference is that the class name is reusable. The ID is not. So you could reuse this class on other spots throughout the page if you had other sections that you wanted to change to green. But if it was an ID, that it would be the only time you could use it on the page. The other thing you can do, if you don't, this is slightly more advanced. If I don't want to use, if I don't want to add a class name, you can follow along with what I'm writing here in style.css also. I'm basically there are a whole group of what are called CSS pseudo selectors. And we've already seen them actually. The hover state where it's like :hover, that is what's called a pseudo selector because it's a specific instance of an element, or it's like a specific state of an element or some kind of qualifier on top of an element. So if you look in style.css, what I can write are what we call, if I write section : first dash child, this is a select and then add color green. It will only affect, or actually not first child, first of type. Now I haven't added a class. I haven't added an additional selector to that first section. If you were to, if you scroll down, and look for, it doesn't look like you have other sections on the page, but if we add one real quick, just add a section before the case studies, or so if you scroll down on your page, that second section element is in black. It's not in green. So we've been able to distinguish by just the, selecting just the first one on the page, which if you look in your style.css sheet at line 24, see there, section : first of type. I can change this to be nth of type 1. But then this will let me select, I can have, say I have 20 sections on my page. I can select just the fourth one. I can get really advanced if I did something like 4n+1. This would select every fourth element. The first would be green, second would be black, third would be black, fourth would be black, fifth would be green, second would be black, third would be black, etc., etc., etc. So, the easiest, so you can add, you can get really advanced with these selectors without having to add a ton more classes to your page. But the easiest ones to work with are just first of type and last of type.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually like that better because it seems like you don't have to add more.
Yeah, it feels a little cleaner.
Yeah, it feels a little cleaner.
Yeah. So there is oh, let me drop a link in the chat just so everybody has this in case you want it. CSS Tricks has their almanac page where it's just a master list of every single CSS selector that's available to you and every single CSS property that you have access to. So if you have a question as to whether or not you can do it in CSS, the answer is probably on this page.
Another question, thanks for saying that. Another question that I had is, should we start with H1 or H2?
Start with H1, and it should be, so I don't know if this is just an idiosyncrasy that I was taught or whether it's a hard and fast rule. But what I was taught was that you should only have one H1 on your page. And it should be like, think of it as like the title of the book or the title of the magazine article. And that every subheading after that goes to H2. If there's a subsection in there, that's H3. If there's a subsection in there, that's H4, and so on.
Okay. Yeah, I was unsure. I've heard both ways. I've heard like H1 should be like site title and H2 should be the first header. And then I've also heard that the site title is the site title and the H1 should just be the first header. So
Yep. I've also heard I have heard difference of opinion as to, it was kind of drilled into me that you should only ever have, that you shouldn't have more than one H1 on a page. And that is apparently nowhere near as universal as a belief as I thought it was. So, you know, the rules, I think a lot of this is that I mean, again, the standards change over time, you know, like you don't necessarily, things that were best practice 10 years ago, 5 years ago, last year might not be a best practice anymore tomorrow, you know? So it's always, there's always a learning curve to this.
yeah, I do think like the H1 is like, if you are optimizing your site for search, it is like
It carries more weight. Yeah.
carries more weight. So I guess that keep that in mind, but
Yeah,
for practical purposes, maybe it doesn't.
exactly.
Like
It's not,
case, you know?
yeah, the whole thing of only using, for instance, the whole thing of only using an ID once on your page has much deeper implications in JavaScript than it does in CSS. A CSS style will carry over to several instances of the same ID, but JavaScript will only look at the first one. So if you're trying to say bind a click event to a bunch of different elements on the page and they're all sharing an ID, it's only the first one's going to work.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, I feel like I still have like a lot of work to do, and I would like to like try to set up like a one-on-one at some point. So I'll reach
Sure.
out.
Yeah. I am I'm busy tomorrow, but Friday I have lots of availability. And Sunday I can make time, and earlier in the week as well, before next week.
Sunday is probably the best day that you mentioned.
Okay.
So
Well, let's
I'll-
just keep in touch about it then.
Okay, I'll reach out.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody. I have to say this is another outstanding batch of final projects. I'm really, really happy with all the work you've done so far, and I cannot wait to see how it all turns out next week. So we'll on that note, we'll end class a little early tonight, and yeah, reach out to me, shoot me an email if you want to schedule another one-on-one, and I'm looking forward to seeing how all this shakes out.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night.
Right.